He was originally a rich young man, but his whole life changed, causing him to fall from the top to the bottom of society. His father is seriously ill, his eldest uncle Jiang Tianming is betrayed, his girlfriend is cheating, he has lost everything that makes him look like a dog that anyone can step on at this level. However, fate ironically on the day of his father's coaxing, it was the enemy who threw him into the sea. He returned from the dead after exactly 5 years carrying glory. Disguised as another person, how each of those 1 year harmed his father and son, now he forces them to kneel at their feet to bear the cost twice as much. He is determined to find the real culprit to solve the feud that year, this time let no one get away. For the past 5 years, he has been waiting for 5 years and is finally able to return to take revenge on his father's murder in the past. How is Kwang Hoi Company? Wait, I'll drag them down one by one. 1. The assistant ran over to him and sent his wife's business card back in a few minutes, she'll come pick it up. 5 years ago, Zhang Beichen's family had a problem. His family's bank account was frozen as soon as his father fell seriously ill. No matter how much you beg, the hospital is not a charity. His friends and family refused to lend him money. At this time, Zhang Beichen remembered his grandfather. He quickly ran to the house to beg, but was stopped by the eldest uncle Jiang Tianming. The family's assets are now in his hands. Zhang Beichen is angry that he lost gambling in the past. It was his father who paid him this debt. But now he is sick and refuses to help. Zhang Beichen reached out and was electrocuted by the guard. After a while, when he woke up, someone called him and heard about the Zhang family's business. For now, he should go and borrow money from his girlfriend Zi Cheng. Heed Zhang Beichen's advice to go to her campus. Seeing Zhang coming, everyone constantly despised Zhang Beichen's family, who was cheated by Kwang Hoi Group and lost 200 million. Now on the verge of bankruptcy and no money in hand, everyone is right. Zhang Beichen begs his girlfriend for help. She said she hated that she could lend him money on the condition that from now on she no longer had a relationship with him. Zhang Beichen gritted his teeth and endured. He had to pay for his father's medical treatment, but when he returned to the hospital, he had already passed away. He cried a lot at the funeral, but that was not all. Others who went to his father's funeral beat him and threw him into the sea. Fortunately, Zhang Beichen was saved and sent to the army for training. Now he's back and vows to drag them all out and step under his feet. Beichen's fiancée is currently on her way to pick him up at the airport. Her chief secretary was very confused with this decision of Shui Shu. They are about to have a big business contract, but she still takes time to go to the airport to pick up a trash guy. Meanwhile, Beichen's return has reached the ears of the big men in the city. They kept calling to welcome Beichen back and wanted to transfer to him Vin Din Company so that Beichen could regain his position. Beichen doesn't want to talk about this yet, so he has to meet his wife first. At this time, there was news from the king's family. The name of Director Chen came to Shui Shu's house to discuss business. He tried to please Shui Shu's mother at the cost of investing 1 million in T-Van Company to help them overcome financial danger. Seeing money, her mother immediately brightened her eyes and flattered Chen. At this time, Shui Shu just returned home. She was very upset with this guy, so she should discuss it at the company, not come to her house like that. This guy is still very proud. He is confident of 1 million investment. Sooner or later she will be his. Hearing this, Beichen knew that he and Shui Shu's mother were trying to drive him away. 1,000 stars you can also earn and ask your wife. The name Chen burst out laughing. It's impossible that a guy like you can earn $1,000. He bragged about his business partner, which coincidentally was the Vin Ding Company. He approached to hug Shui Shu's waist when Beichen stopped him and crushed his hand. Chen angrily announced that he would not invest anymore if he didn't get down on his knees to lick his shoes and apologize to him. Beichen sneered, pulled out his phone and called once. Vin Din Company withdrew all its investment. Only then did Chen realize he had poked someone he shouldn't have. He knelt down and begged Beichen to forgive him. Of course there was nothing like that. Chen's name is trembling. He can't be like that. Even if Beichen knows Secretary Zhang, he can't control Vin Din Corporation like that. He quickly ran away begging for another chance, and Beichen pretended he didn't know anything. Fortunately, the secretary has not revealed his identity yet. Shui Shu is worried that Vin Din's withdrawal from Chen will also affect her. It's only a few days until the Wang family's banquet, at which point they'll be kicked out of the clan. Shui Shu's mother blamed Bei Chen and kicked him out of the house. Bei Chen tries to justify his wife as it's too easy for him to have. Suddenly Bei Chen felt unwell. He quickly went to the emergency room for treatment. During a mission, Bei Chen was seriously injured, but fortunately, he learned the profound martial art that determined him to return with his life. At this moment, a friend called. He was Bei Chen's old classmate Lu Haut. Lu Haut invited Bei Chen to the class meeting they were holding. Bei Chen doesn't want to go anywhere, but Lu Haut also has a reason to beg Bei Chen for help. Their class was named Li Wei Li in the past, pursuing the school's beauty, but she liked Bei Chen. Now Lu Haut has a very important contract that he wants Bei Chen to come to him to sign the contract. Bei Chen agreed to help Lu Haut, but when he got there, the other Li Wei Li and his classmates started teasing him. He is currently cooperating with a big company, so he looks great. Lu Haut angrily pulled Bei Chen away. He called Bei Chen not to insult him. So he started threatening Lu Haut if he didn't sign the contract. Lu Haut would also have trouble with his family. As soon as Lu Haut was about to kneel down and beg him, Bei Chen stopped him. He took a bottle of wine and hit him on the head and declared, 5 years ago he could have stepped on him, but now he still can. Bei Chen gave that boss a fight. It was really worth it. Lu Haut also felt gloating after this incident, even though he had no investors anymore. Speaking of this, Lu Haut didn't feel regretful, but he didn't dare to go home. Lu Haut was trembling. Bei Chen immediately pulled out his phone and called Secretary Zhang. He asked her to sign a contract for Lu Haut and terminate the contract with the other Wei Li. Listening to Bei Chen talk, Lu Haut thought he drank too much alcohol and started arguing. Meanwhile, Wei Li was extremely angry. He was about to find a bookkeeper, Bei Chen, when the director called. He cursed Wei Li face down when Vin Din Company had terminated the contract. Who said he offended the boss Vin Din? Wei Li's face turned blue and he started to jump numbers. Lately he hasn't offended anyone but Bei Chen. Realizing that he was teasing the wrong person, Wei Li rushed out and begged Bei Chen to forgive him. Bei Chen didn't care what he said, was about to leave when he knelt down in the street begging. At this rate, everyone will discover his identity, so Bei Chen has to agree to forgive him. Then turned around and patted the surprised Lu Haut on the shoulder. Whoever he was, they would still be friends. Meanwhile, Shui Shu was at home taking care of the ups and downs. She didn't know how to face her grandmother at the upcoming banquet. At this moment, Secretary Zhang called to announce the first announcement for her company, making Shui Shu very surprised. Could it be that Bei Chen helped? There's no way such a thing could happen, she sneered. Only now, Bei Chen has just returned, and as soon as she met him, she called in to discuss divorce. Bei Chen didn't want to discuss this and left. Shui Shu tried to hold Bei Chen back. She promised to give him a villa and a separation fee of 100,000. Bei Chen angrily grabbed his wife's hand for him. This amount of money didn't go anywhere. The reason Bei Chen is so adamant is because 5 years ago when everyone turned hostile to him, only Shui Shu stood up to speak for him. He couldn't give up on her that easily. Bei Chen advises his wife to marry him as the greatest happiness in her life. Since when did Bei Chen have such a face when uttered these kind words made Shui Shu ovulate all her eggs? She put everything aside for the time being, and had to take care of the management meeting tomorrow. The next day Bei Chen was also present at the meeting, confusing Shui Shu. Usually this meeting is only attended by people with shares in the company. Why would grandma let an outsider like Bei Chen come here? At this time, Shui Shu's cousin's name came up. He is Wang Wu, the head of the modern king family that runs the second branch of the Wang family. Having just met him, he came to mock Shui Wu because he thought that she could open her legs to receive this investment. The management meeting took place that Shui Shu's 2 van company received a large investment as a funny thing. But this is an important matter if Shui Shu can't sign the contract in Vin Din's upcoming spring project. Her 2 Yun company has to merge with the other Wang Wu's 2 DM company. Shui Shu denied that it was the company her father built with her, so it could not be assigned to anyone. But it might still be the Wang family property, so she had to obey. Hearing these funny stories made Bei Chen sneer until he took over the Vin Din company. The next day Bei Chen took Lu Haut to Vin Din to sign a contract. They accidentally meet their old classmate Lu Ran, who is also here. Seeing the 2 people coming, she began to raise her arrogant voice. She boasted that she had a boyfriend who was working here. She can just sit idle and receive a monthly salary. Bei Chen laughed so that at this time, all senior leaders and Secretary Zhang came out to welcome Bei Chen to receive the title of Vin Din CEO. Making the other couple turn pale, Bei Chen immediately asked the secretary to these two Zhang when to investigate for criminal prosecution. According to Bei Chen's advice, Secretary Zhang has already signed a contract for Lu Haut. As for the things to come, he had his own plans. Shui Wu arrives at the Tuzan Pavilion project tender. Here are all the big names of the same sex. It must be that if successful, the amount of capital they spend will multiply many times, so everyone is very hungry for this project. She didn't know if she could compete with the others. Her cousin Wang Wu is also here, and every time he meets him, he spits out provocations to Shui Shu, making her very uncomfortable. At this time, Secretary Zhang came out declaring that a decision has been made for this project. The Wang family will get this project and then she kicks all the other companies out. Then, inviting Wang Wu to accept the project, Shui Shu was very upset. They've spent so much time preparing that they can't decide even though they haven't watched it yet. So it's not fair, but this is Vin Din's project, they have the right to do that. Shui Shu can't do anything more. The name Wang Wu is already attracted to Secretary Miao by this time. He didn't need to read the contract, he still signed and then went back to show it to his grandmother, until grandma flipped it open and was shocked. Mrs. Wang got angry and threw the contract away. Shui Shu jumped on the other Wang Shu's name. You must be so busy watching girls that you forget to read the contract. Shui Shu's Tu Yun Company is the winner of this master match. Ms. Wang quickly regained her composure, thinking that in the end it was still the Wang family that won the auction. Since Shui Shu has established a great success, from now on, she will make her vice president of Wang Group. Shui Shu was very happy, but soon Mrs. Wang poured her a bucket of water. Shui Shu became the vice president, but she had to hand over the Tu Yun Company to the other Wang Shu to run. Shui Shu was worried about getting this position of vice president, but everything had been calculated by her in advance. Giving her name but taking her real rights, that's like turning her into a paper puppet with no real name. Shui Shu immediately objected. Tu Yun Company was founded by her and her father, so she could not give it to anyone. Shui Shu jumped like a shrimp, making Mrs. Wang so angry that she fainted. People around began to talk about how Shui Shu was unfilial. Now she understood that from the beginning she had intended to hand over the company to that Wang Shu. Whether you win the bid or not, you will still lose Tu Van Company. For now, she only had to obey or else her reputation would be lost and her honor would.
इसके साथ ये चैप्टर ख़त्म होता है। उम्मीद करूँगा आपको ये चैप्टर पसंद आया होगा। पसंद आया हो तो लाइक, शेयर, कमेंट कर दीजिएगा और नोटिफिकेशन बेल ऑन कर दीजिएगा ताकि आप इसके आगे के एपिसोड भी देख सकें। अब मैं आपको एक चीज़ बताना चाहूँगा, इस कहानी में आगे बहुत कुछ होने वाला है, तो अगर आप उसे देखना चाहते हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर कर लीजिएगा।